Welcome to Syed Mahmud channel. Time prophecy came true. Recently Israel was declared as the losing side with its fight against Hamas. This was prophesied 1400 years ago that Muslims will fight Jews and will win. Meanwhile Algeria, Iran, Yemen call for all-out war and sanction on Israel. Members of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation should impose an oil embargo and other sanctions on Israel and expel all Israeli ambassadors over a deadly strike on Al-Ali Arab Hospital in Gaza, according to Iranian Foreign Minister. These remarks came in a statement on Wednesday amid an emergency OIG meeting in the Saudi city of Jeddah to discuss the escalating Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The foreign minister calls for an immediate and complete embargo on Israel by Islamic countries, including oil sanctions, in addition to expelling Israeli ambassadors if relations with the Zionist regime have been established. The ministry said. It also called for the formation of a team of Islamic lawyers to document potential war crimes committed by Israel in Gaza. Iran has no diplomatic relations with Israel. But will oil embargo go anywhere? Israel's military offensive in Gaza following an October 7 attack by the enclave's ruling Islamist group Hamas has raised calls in the Middle East, particularly from OPEC member Iran, for using oil as a weapon to punish Israel. The conflict has led many analysts, oil market watchers, and politicians to draw parallels with the 1973 OPEC embargo, when Arab oil producers cut off oil exports to several allies of Israel, including the United States and Britain, following the Israeli-Arab war that year. In other developments, U.S. Army veteran said the following: Ukraine simply doesn't matter, just like Afghanistan and Israel, a more complicated question because of the Jewish aspect of it, because of the Holocaust, and because of the control that the pro-Israeli lobbies have of the American Congress and the American body politic. Today I don't see us abandoning Israel like we did Afghanistan or Ukraine. What I do see us doing, however, is eventually abandoning Israel, Zionist Israel, Greater Israel. We've been very tolerant of these settlers that have gone out there and murdered Palestinians, stole their land, trying to establish this Greater Israel. We've been very tolerant of a liquid government. You know, there's a lot of talk about, from the river to the sea Palestine will be free. People say that's so anti-Semitic, because what you're saying is you want to get rid of all the Jews, and it's a Hamas thing. Well, Hamas borrowed it from somebody. You want to know who they borrowed it from? Likud Party. The Likud Party came up with it in the early 1950s. From the river to the sea, only Jews will live there. No Palestinians. That's been the Likud Party. That's been Israel's Zionist Israel's vision. Get rid of all these Palestinians. And now they have a government, the Benjamin Netanyahu government, with this far right-wing coalition that's trying to make it a reality. It's going to fail. It's going to fail because the United States won't go along with it. It's going to fail because Hamas is beating the Israeli army to a standstill in Gaza, because Hezbollah is crushing the Israeli army up north, because Israel doesn't have the capacity to win. Also, U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has warned Israel that it risks strategic defeat unless it protects Palestinian civilians in Gaza. In a sign of growing tensions between the close allies as Israel resumes its military campaign in southern Gaza, Austin said Israel would only win if it protected civilians and created humanitarian corridors. In this kind of a fight, the center of gravity is the civilian population. And if you drive them into the arms of the enemy, you replace a tactical victory with a strategic defeat. Austin said in a speech to the Reagan National Defense Forum in California. U.S. President Joe Biden and other senior American officials have warned their Israeli counterparts that they must avoid the kind of mass internal displacement triggered by their bombardment of Gaza's north. They have urged Israel to be more precise in the next phase of its campaign. Austin and other U.S. military officials have invoked lessons learned in Washington's fight against Islamic State in Iraq, which involved intense urban combat. Like Hamas, ISIS was deeply embedded in urban areas. And the international coalition against ISIS worked hard to protect civilians and create humanitarian corridors, even during the toughest battles, said Austin, who is a former commander of U.S. forces in the Middle East. The lesson is not that you can win in urban warfare by protecting civilians. The lesson is that you can only win in urban warfare by protecting civilians. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said on Friday that Israel had shared with him its plans about how to protect civilians in the next phase of the military effort, and said the U.S. would monitor the ongoing campaign closely. Biden is under increasing pressure from within his administration and the Democratic Party to do more to constrain Israel. It is critical that Israel defeats Hamas. If they continue killing this many civilians, they're going to make them stronger. Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton said. The Israeli military intensified airstrikes in southern Gaza on Saturday and ordered residents of some Palestinian border towns to leave their homes. Since the breakdown of the truce on Friday, Israel's renewed offensive in Gaza has killed 193 people, Palestinian health officials said. Israel's military said it had hit multiple terror targets in northern Gaza, including a mosque it said was being used as a command center by militants. It added that its jets struck over 50 targets in the area of Khan Younis in southern Gaza overnight. Palestinian health officials say more than 15,200 people have been killed by Israel's military response to the attacks by Hamas on October 7, in which the militant group kidnapped 240 people and killed 1,200 in southern Israel. During the temporary ceasefire, Hamas freed 84 women and children, while Israel released about 240 Palestinian women and children from prison. The Israel Defense Forces said Hamas was still holding 136 people hostage, among them 17 women and children. The remainder of the hostages are mainly Israeli soldiers and reservists. Israel's Defense Minister Yoav Gallant said the military campaign was degrading Hamas capabilities as well as forcing it to negotiate over hostages. Through our military action, we also create the conditions that push Hamas to pay a heavy price, and that is in the release of hostages, close quote, he said. He asserted that Israel had killed thousands of Hamas fighters, struck dozens of headquarters and detained hundreds of operatives. But none of these are proven to be true. Al-Bukhari, 3593, and Muslim, 2921, narrated from the hadith of Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, that he said, I heard the Messenger of Allah, blessings and peace of Allah be upon him, say, the Jews will fight you and you will prevail over them. Then a rock will say, O Muslim, here is a Jew behind me, kill him.